Welcome to the Digital Marketing Insights podcast, brought to you by Brightside Digital.
Hi everyone, welcome to the show. I'm delighted to say we have Christopher here today, who's a social media manager. How are you doing, Christopher?
I'm good, Thomas. How are you keeping?
Yeah, flying it. Christopher, let's start off by you just telling everyone a little bit about yourself and your career to date and your degree, I suppose.
Perfect. So, my title is I'm a social media manager. I work for a company called Ryan's Pharmacy. I manage the marketing for 5 locations in the Midlands, Kildare and Offaly. On another note, I'm recently out of college, so to call myself an expert would be maybe a white lie. But I would like to say that I am currently, I would define myself more of a generalist who is kind of paving my path forward to kind of really honing in on what I really want to be an expert in and what I really want to become skilled in as such. But I guess compared to some of the guests that are on the show, Thomas, I guess me being at the early stage of my career, it's a little bit of a different perspective to bring on board. Um, Coming from college, I feel as though I've in the last few months, I just finished my master's degree. Um, I am currently in the process of kind of bridging that gap between leaving education and entering the world of being a professional. And the role that I'm in now is giving me great freedom and an opportunity to build skills in different areas and aspects of a marketing role, in particular the social media side of things. But the role is not just restricted to the social media. I'm lucky enough to have the opportunity to spearhead a rebrands. We're going into web development. We're bringing this business into the digital age. The company have done a fantastic job of running their locations, their business. They've relied heavily on traditional means of marketing, and they're bringing me on board to kind of just bring it to the next stage and kind of bring in that digital aspect of it and just create that digital transformation, which is brilliant. I'm getting to develop skills in a number of areas because of that.
Yeah, brilliant. And is there any particular social platform and stuff you're working a lot on? Do you have a preference right now in real time?
So they have the 2 platforms that they were on. I think the majority of businesses when they get going is it's Instagram and Facebook. Obviously, Meta has lots of great capabilities that we can use to really kind of hone in on the market, whether it's ads or just um, scheduling content and just the different bits that we can use within Meta that are really effective. But other than that, they haven't really been on any other platforms. So currently, we're just kind of developing our digital infrastructure. So we just added our LinkedIn page, we added our TikTok account. We're kind of in the early stages of expanding on other realms of social platforms to really kind of resonate with the many different demographics that are out there. So I guess there's not one in particular that we're really honing in on. Right now, we're kind of populating our different digital platforms and just trying to really kind of appeal with the different demographics that are coming in, because at the end of the day, it's a pharmacy. And I mean, everybody comes to the pharmacy. Everybody needs to pick up a prescription. Everybody does a bit of shopping, and there's different age groups that we need to resonate with. Obviously, we have a key demographic that we want to work with, that we can target. We can create that content, but we don't want to disregard the other demographics, because they are a lower percentage in comparison to the, let's say, the primary target audience. But I guess right now we are trying to obviously resonate with our primary audience, but not neglect the other demographics that are so important to our business.
Brilliant. Yeah, makes perfect sense. And is there any work you've done recently that you're really proud of campaign wise? Is there anything that you thought, okay, this is working and you enjoy doing it?
So do you know what? I'm going to take it back a little bit to my previous position, because I guess with this new role, I'm in the role 3 months now, so we're still kind of from my perspective, I'm identifying what the company really expects from me as a marketing manager in there, and really pinning down that. But something that I'm really proud of in the past, and that I would like to bring up, is my previous role, where I was a junior marketing executive. I was working in Social Media Elite. Fantastic company is run by Connor Cochran. I cannot say enough about that company. The managers in there, the supervisors in there, absolutely amazing mentors. Um, but when in my time there, I was managing a company. It was called Fitness for Home, and the Basically, they're a fitness equipment and supplementation company, and with that, I actually had the opportunity to manage the rebrand there as well. I know this is coming away from the social media a little bit, but it is something that really stood out, and it's kind of something that kind of defined my path going forward, because I happen to be spearheading a rebrand with this new company as well, which is very exciting. But with the previous company, it was so new to me. It was a nice challenge to be presented with, and going through that rebrand, really kind of digging into the analytics and the information available on us to really try and incorporate and embody the company values of the customer into our designs, into our kind of our ideation process, to really try and resonate with that target audience. So I guess going through that rebrand was a big thing for me, particularly somebody who was a junior marketing role. So having the opportunity to kind of front run with this was extremely exciting, and it gave me lots of experience that I've carried forward. And it's funny, it's kind of creating this natural progression towards me. I guess I'm navigating towards certain specialisms based off my experience in last role, and it's led to this role, which it's leading me down the road of more rebranding and more opportunity in that area.
And Christopher, looking at social media and what you're doing now at the moment, is there anything that you're identifying trends wise, or anything you're really enjoying? And on top of that, is there any softwares
Well,
you're using to
the
assist
I
your social
suppose
media work?
TikTok is something that I would like to dive into more. Obviously, like, we see trends all the time across TikTok, and it's a powerful tool for creating kind of a like organic awareness of your company. So I think like TikTok is a great one for basically getting your name out there and building trends, in particular specific trends. I don't really there's not enough off the top of my head right now, but just for kind of a building yourself and creating awareness across social, I think TikTok is an excellent platform for that. And as you can see, in terms of specific trends, that there are numerous kind of trends that are ongoing across TikTok all the time that we can be jumping on and gain substantial awareness across the digital world with no budget. So for specific trends, not really, but for really hopping on a trend and creating awareness of your company, I mean, TikTok is excellent. Yeah, so in terms of software, Canva is definitely one of my favorite platforms, just because of the user friendliness. And I tend to use a combination of Canva and CapCut. Again, free platforms, but very effective platforms. So what I tend to do when it comes to video, I will make my video on CapCut, and then I will bring in different edits from my Canva platform as well, to kind of just put a more professional, polished look on the video. And I think like with a combination of different platforms, you can really create very professional looking content. I have used Adobe software in the past, and obviously it's very effective. It is more complicated, and my proficiency in Adobe will be basic in comparison to other platforms. But I think a combination of these platforms is the sweet spot for me, anyways, personally. And they were the platforms that I would be recommending to other people in a similar position to myself.
Brilliant, brilliant. And you mentioned there at the beginning around the trends and using TikTok a lot. So obviously CapCut works perfectly with TikTok. And then trends, would you use sounds at all when you're creating some of your content at the moment? Is that one of the areas you're optimizing for in TikTok?
Yeah, well, I guess look, when you're trying to hack the algorithm, pretty much, and you're trying to really optimize it as best you can, it does work. It is important to incorporate those sounds. But you know what? I think it all stems back to one key attribute, and that is producing good quality content. I mean, you can go viral by manipulating algorithms to a certain extent. But at the end of the day, for longevity, I think the key to that is just putting your time into developing your good quality content, something that you know is going to resonate with your audience. And that comes back again, I suppose, to understanding who your audience is and what you're putting out there. So quality is key in producing longevity in your marketing. But definitely, along with longevity and producing good quality content, you should be definitely taking advantage of your sounds, trending music, and every other little hack we can approach with to really give us that optimal kind of like reach with the algorithms.
Love it. And in terms of new information, is there anywhere where you go to find insights and new information? Is there any Bible for Christopher?
I go for Christopher. Not in particular. I tend to do my own research quite a bit, so I get a real buzz out of kind of like self-educating. And do you know where that actually probably stems from? It's funny enough. When I was in college, we actually were. It was in the middle of the pandemic, and with that came a whole lot of self-learning, and that was an extremely challenging time because we couldn't just turn over and look at our lecture and say, sorry, what is this? In order to do that, you'd have to send an email or communicate some other way, and it was difficult. So I became very good at kind of self-learning, and that kind of really kind of formed my approach when it comes to actually learning and kind of educating myself on whatever it may be, whether it's updates to algorithms or just understanding new technologies that are coming on the scene and how we can really kind of take advantage of those things. So in general, I don't have a source that I go to, but I do quite a bit of research around just most general topics that are really kind of like out there, you know.
So like kind of Google searches, YouTube videos, that kind of stuff, social media,
Yes,
just going out there looking for what you need at that time.
that's it. Yeah, that's it. Just kind of diving into it. I guess, look, my research starts with a problem, and I kind of I try to when I'm approaching a problem, obviously, I've always been a problem based learner. Identify the problem and look at the solutions, and I try to not overcomplicate things. I think the best way to get over a problem is to look at it in the most basic context and then expand on it. So that again, like it comes back to just like finding the problem and then doing my research across social, YouTube, TikTok. TikTok might as well be a browser nowadays. It's fantastic. So you can get so much information from these different platforms and all these different professionals across line. Obviously, you got to be careful where you're getting your information from. Not everybody is as professional as they say they are, but you got to be able to identify what's right and what's wrong, and that just comes with more thorough research. You know.
Love it. And is there any areas you're looking to upskill or learn more about at the moment, and why, maybe in your niches?
I guess me being at the early stage of my career, I guess I'm trying to establish all my skill sets. I'm trying to build on all my skills. I'm trying to kind of like uh, improve myself on a whole. The end goal, really, I would love to get into the down the line now. I would like to get into consultation work. In order to be a consultant, you need to have a good proficiency in many areas. So it's important for me to develop my skills as equally as possible. Obviously, I'm going to navigate towards things that I have preference towards. Maybe I'm more interested in it, maybe the creative side of things or whatnot. But in general, it's important for me to develop my entire skill set as equally as possible. Right now, I guess the emphasis is on is developing good content. And it's funny, I heard a quote there. It's actually when I was doing a bit of research the other day, but I stumbled across, funny enough, Mr. Beast. And just bear with me here. He said something that was interesting, and he was like, it resonated with me to a certain extent. And it was basically, he said, whatever you're doing, whatever it may be, in his case, it was creating videos. He says, every time you create a video, try and improve on it. Just one thing. Try and improve on one thing every time you create a video, or whatever it is, a graphic, whatever it may be in your situation. And every time you do that, try and improve, try and improve, improve. The example he gave was create 100 videos on YouTube, and every video you do, focus in on one element, whether it's the script, whether it's a new, what would you say, edit of some sort, but every time you do a new video, look at your previous work and say, what did I like about that? And what did I not like about that? And improve on it as best you can. And it's just like a natural progression to improving. And I guess that's just it's experience at the end of the day. And that resonated with me, and that's kind of the approach I'm going with right now. Because I'm new to this, not new to it. I've a few years in the game now, but I'm relatively at the early stages of my career. Right now, I'm just working on improving and just building on my skill set day by day.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of Mr. Beast as well. I'm familiar with his work and stuff, and like I think you're on the right lines, Christopher. Like it's very difficult, especially when you work with more traditional businesses. The longer I've been in this game, when you work with things where people don't want to do video because they don't want to be on camera or something like that. It's given anyone that's maybe from your generation an opportunity to produce video content and produce it at a huge quantity level and a quality level. And you're right, if you just keep on tweaking at things, like there's multimillionaires in this country alone just from playing video games or from doing makeup tutorials and stuff. And you can't really teach those skills. And there's not really a consultant or people out there that stand up and say, if you focus on this area, you can produce this. Because it's still so raw and alien to a lot of business people. So I completely agree. It's such a good advice taken from Mr. Beast of just optimizing those little areas, keywords, thumbnails, edits, captions, everything that goes with these things. If you do just a little bit more each time, the hard thing is you get better, but it's just staying on top of it. Just the consistency is the secret. Really, it's the secret recipe.
Yeah, it truly is. And I mean, this industry in general, like digital marketing, it's expanding and growing so fast. It's you're an expert one day, but if you are not upskilling, your expertise is going to slip. I mean, there's so many things coming on the scene. Like a perfect example of that is artificial intelligence coming across. Like AI is literally changing the game in every industry. Like we already see the impact AI has made in marketing, like whether it be copywriting or graphic design. I mean, there are so many new technologies come across the board. We really have to be on the ball. We have to be constantly upskilling, constantly educating ourselves on these things. And like you were saying, like with YouTube and stuff like that, like I mean, how long is YouTube on the scene? What we 15, 20 years into the game. Like, I mean, it takes 15, 20 years to create an expert, in some cases. So I mean, like we're kind of then in the past 20 years, these people have been front running this revolution, and it's something that it's very exciting because it's so new. It's so new, and we're all just figuring it out as we go as professionals. And there's something very unique and very exciting about that.
Yeah. I think with YouTube as well, what the big thing that helped a lot of people and creators on it is they really reward their creators back in. So a lot of the money they make from ad revenue stuff, they pump it straight back into the creators, the channels and stuff. It's almost like funding production of a TV show. That's how they've taken their model. So they're very rewarding in their subs and stuff. It's all about subscribers and eyeballs and everything. And then they pay a lot of money back. Which kind of nicely leads on to my next question. Looking at the digital industry as a whole, is there anything that really excites you that might be coming or happening right now that you'd like to talk about?
Exciting. Well, there's lots that excites me about this industry. Particularly is like what I really like about this is how many avenues there are that you can go into, and there's something really for everybody in marketing, whether you're creative or analytically minded. There's something absolutely for everybody. But to bring it back to like what we were talking about earlier, Thomas, we were talking about artificial intelligence. That's really exciting me at the moment. It's an interesting topic, and I just think it has the potential to really change the landscape of digital marketing, and not only digital marketing, but pretty much every industry across the board. We're already seeing the implementation of artificial intelligence across agriculture, in our marketing, and everywhere else. I mean, so I'm excited to see what's going to happen in the next 12 months. And what really interests me is how algorithms are going to adapt and change with the influx of artificial intelligence produced content like copywriting and whatnot. Like it's interesting because what happens um, when a piece of technology comes on the playing field, then to a certain extent levels the playing field with highly experienced individuals, with people that may be relatively new to the industry. What happens? How do you reward content creation? How do you reward SEO? How do you approach that? We need to be able to distinguish between high quality content, because basically I could type into ChatGPT right now and say produce 10 blogs on these topics for me, and then I could slap that up onto my website and get a boost in my SEO. I'm hoping that algorithms will find a way to acknowledge authenticity and original content. But I'm nervous and excited for the future. But I think artificial intelligence in general will be a positive thing. I think it's something that can really positively impact our lives on a whole. but I think it's going to take some adjusting, and there's going to be a lot of there needs to be regulation. There needs to be significant regulation in the industry, but there's going to be a lot of adapting. There's going to be a huge amount of adapting that's going to come across the playing field that we're all going to have to work with, I think. But in the end, I believe it's going to be a positive impact as long as we stay on top of it.
Completely agree. Yeah, what an excellent answer, Christopher. And looking at yourself for a second, Christopher, we always end the show asking this question, which is, if you could bottle up one personality trait you have yourself that you could pass on to others, what would it be?
Myself, persistence, I'd say. You have to be persistent, no matter what your approach is. My mother used to call me the mountain goat. So basically, a mountain goat always keeps going till he makes it to the top. All right. So I'm saying persistence. Maybe I'm just stubborn, but I think persistence is super important. Like, I'm not going to go back too far, and I'll try to be quick on this. But if I just rewind things back a few years, I'm 30 now, but if we go back a few years, when I was in school, let's say, I would never have said I was academically minded. I would never have said that I was strong at that. I would have put a lot of elements on physicality and sports and stuff. So that was the avenue I was going down. When I left school, I went to college. I studied in hotel and catering management. Wasn't for me. Moved on. Joined the army. Wasn't for me. Got out of there. I was in before I was out. And what was interesting about the army in particular for me was I had visualized myself as a soldier. That's who I wanted to be. That's where I saw myself going. It was the physical. It was everything that I thought embodied me. And when I got in there and realized it wasn't for me, there was this whole kind of restructuring of how I perceived myself. And I realized that wasn't actually for me. But now I was kind of having this personality I was trying to figure out who I really was. So I moved on, started working as a personal trainer, stayed in that career for a number of years, and enjoyed it, but wasn't satisfied. So I kept going. I kept looking for what was right for me and trying to pin down what that was. And that's exhausting. I ended up going back to college, studying. And in my first year, I met a lecturer called Seamus Ryan. Seamus had a very unique way of teaching and educating that really changed how I looked at studying, and he changed how I approached learning. And with that, the previous how I perceived myself as not being academically minded changed, because I found a new approach. And if I hadn't kept going, I wouldn't have got there. And I ended up in my fourth year, I ended up winning the Digital Student Year Award by the DMAs. And that really that basically was like, it was a major achievement for me personally, because coming from this long road, not having the confidence in myself as an academic or whatnot, and coming all the way and getting to where I was, none of that would have happened without persistence, and none of that would have happened without just keep moving forward. And if I was to say anything, if I was to add anything to anybody's, I don't know, lives or their approach right now, I don't know how to phrase it. I would say just keep going, just keep marching forward, and don't stop until you settle, because too many people in this world settle for less. And the reason why is because the pursuit is exhausting. But if you just keep on pushing through that, it'll be worth it. Just keep working towards it. I'm still pushing towards it. I haven't found the end goal yet, but the pursuit is what it's all about, not the end goal.
You're right. You're right. Well, wonderful way to end the show. Christopher, if anyone wants to reach out to you or see your work, how can they find you?
Well, I'm on LinkedIn, Christopher Kearns. That's my professional account. I'm also on Instagram. If you want to connect with me, it's more of a more casual account, personal. It was my previous personal training account, but it's a Legacy Fit, and they're my two major platforms. So if you want to reach out to me, ask me anything at all, I'd be happy. And that would be probably the best way to get in contact with me.
Christopher, I've loved just getting to know you in this show in particular. So thank you so much, and hope everyone loved it, watching, listening. Thanks everyone for doing it. And Christopher, thanks for being on the show.
Thanks a million, Thomas. Really enjoyed being here. I appreciate you bringing me on. It's a really, really good experience, and I wish you the absolute best of luck going forward.
Appreciate it, buddy. Thank you.